Hey there, interwebs. Today I'm following through on a thread I made at the end of my last video and doing a fantasy race weapon analysis for tree people. If you're not familiar with the concept, which is statistically unlikely since I gained 35% of my current subscribers off my last video, I'll be speculating what kind of medieval and pre-medieval weapons are the best choice for tree people. Now let's get our Lorax on and speak for the trees. Right off the bat we need to establish whom we're examining. The name varies a lot, but the idea is basically anthropomorphic trees, whether they're called Ents, Huorns, Treants, Arboreans, or, Groot. There's also a lot of variation within the sentient tree creature type. On the sliding scale from tree to human, you've got the Whomping Willow, Old Man Willow, and Grandmother Willow on one side, and Dryads and Jabe of Cheam on the other. For this, I'm going to take the middle of the bell curve and say that our tree people are slow but mobile, strong, tough, and about 3 to 6 meters in height. And also they're made of wood. These seem to be the most common characteristics of these creatures, and now that we have our parameters, we can start to optimize. The biggest disadvantage that tree people have is that they're typically quite physically slow. Skalagrim made a video wherein he concluded that the best superpower to have in a fight is super speed, and I agree, so moving as slow as a molasses glacier is a massive handicap we need to work around. Tree people are quite strong, but that strength is meaningless if it isn't also fast. What they need is something that can harness all that strength and then release it in an instant. To me, this sounds like bows, and better yet, crossbows. Since tree people are also quite big, their crossbows would be too, perhaps even comparable in size to a ballista. With the size and strength advantage, a tree person might be physically able to span a ballista without mechanical assistance, putting the rate of fire on par with a human crossbow user, about 8 bolts per minute. If that's ranged combat taken care of, then what about hand-to-hand, or hand-to-branch? Given their size and strength, it's tempting to say that their ideal weapons are the same as giants, but that slowness is still an issue. It doesn't matter how heavy your club is if the target can just step out of the way. Tree people need a speed-multiplying weapon. If you swing a hammer, the head will travel at a certain speed. If you swing a hammer with the same sized head on a handle which is twice as long and at the same angular velocity, the head will be moving twice as fast. The longer your handle, the faster the business end moves. The drawback is that it requires 4 times as much energy, which is 4 times the strength. For a tree person who's 2 to 4 times taller than a human, they could achieve tremendous leverage, and strength is less of an issue. Something like a lucerne hammer or a bec de corbin would be ideal, but this is assuming that whatever speeds they can achieve through leverage are fast enough, and I can't say definitively either way. If not, then a fight between a tree person and a human would quickly become a stalemate. The human or humanoid is likely too fast for the tree person to hit, and tree people are almost universally resilient to most kinds of attacks. Actually, let's examine that and talk about armor for a bit. In my last video I said that dwarves and hobbits should love armor because their short stature and the square cube law means that their armor would be exponentially lighter. If a tree person is 4 times the height of a human, then they have 16 times the surface area, roughly, and their armor would have to be a quarter the thickness. The thickness of armor varied a lot, both in between suits as well as in different spots on the same suit, but historical armor is generally thinner than it's often portrayed in fiction. Make it 75% thinner than that, and you're just wrapping a tree in tinfoil. Tree people are strong, stronger than humans, but humans are stronger than insects, yet we can't lift many times our body weight like they can. A tree person might be better off with simple padded armor made from cloth or hides. Whether they need armor at all, though, is debatable. Armor is certainly always a plus in combat, but is it worth the effort for a tree person? Humans, hobbits, dwarves, and giants are all different sizes, but they're all made of meat. Tree people are made of wood. If you hit a tree with a sword, you'll wreck the sword. If you shoot it with an arrow, the arrow won't penetrate very far, assuming it doesn't glance right off. If you want to seriously menace a tree, then you're probably mentally ill, but you'll need an axe. Not just a light, thin battle axe, but a proper big, heavy felling axe. If you want to face a tree person in open battle, you'll also want to be big enough to be comparable in size. That means as big as a giant who's proficient with logging tools. Basically what I'm saying is that you have to be Paul Bunyan. Putting tree people on the battlefield, though, is a big waste of potential. What they're really optimal for isn't open battle, but rather as siege troops. A single tree person can operate the equipment it would take a team of humans to do, possibly faster than humans too, and they don't need to worry about coverage from arrow fire from the defenders. Speed and dodging isn't an issue either, since sieges can last for months or even years, and with one notable exception, castles tend not to move. In summary, if Birnam Wood does start marching on Dunsinane, then the defenders had better hope none of those trees have a ballista. Thanks for watching, and have a nice day.